Town of Barre Finance Committee meeting. And first up on our agenda is approval of minutes for December 17th, 2024. So I believe this is from our meeting prior to special town, correct? Yeah, so this one got lost in the sauce. Has everyone had a chance to review? I think all looks in order. Is there a motion?
I'd make a motion, we accept the minutes from February 11th.
We have a motion.
We're talking about.
Oh, I missed
Oh,
one.
can we do both at once? Yeah, let's do both at once. Why not? We're also gonna, is that a motion for both the minutes
December
of
17th
17th?
and February 11th.
And look at that.
They both
We're
look good.
efficiencies in finance committee meetings. We have a second.
Second.
And all in favor? Aye. All right, we're on to the new business now. New business, we have Dr. Marshall here to discuss the debt exclusion that's on the ballot.
Yeah, the debt exclusion is on the ballot, it was voted by 2/3 of the select board, which is required. Actually, it was a unanimous vote. And that will, and obviously our attorney provided us with the language that will go on the ballot itself. It's very simple, that the town would vote to exclude the fire truck. We do have the right to just say, if you vote for this, okay, this is what it does. If you don't vote for it, this is what it does. That's all the select board can do, provide that for the voter. And then also on the ballot is the non-binding vote about the dam. We call it, that is called the old reservoir dam. It never was a reservoir, so that is sort of misleading, but it's called the old reservoir dam. And it's non-binding. I wish it were binding, because that would make my life a lot simpler. And the board's life a lot simpler, because obviously there's a faction that believes we should do, you can either do a total removal, which is what a lot of people want. They want to restore it to its natural riverbed. And then there's the other group that would like us to repair it completely and to have a public access that would require us to get, obviously, to get a deed on the property by purchasing it or somehow going through the legal process to take the land. It is not, no one has the deed rights to it. No, everybody's dead, and so nobody owns it, but the state. So we would have to purchase the land and then purchase the right of way either by eminent domain, or hopefully there would be some cooperative neighbor who would give us a right of way to get into that property, not only to fix it, but also to maintain it over the years. We'd have to mow around it, clean around it, and also have it, an engineer, come and make sure it continues to be safe. Yeah, and I think it is every 3 years. So obviously there's some ongoing costs to it. So I would say there's a faction that wants to say let Swift River go, and there's a faction who wanted to save the dam, or we have it repaired as is, and have it for, I guess, for people who use it up in that area. Of course, once we make it public access, maybe more people would use it, I don't know. It's tough to get to, it's not like right out there in the open where you have access to it.
What if you did nothing?
Well, because it is considered a high hazard dam, that's not my recommend, that's not what I think, is what the state has said. It's a high hazard dam. So if there's a high hazard dam and if something were to go afoul, and the amount of water that is there, that thing is breached, and there would be damage to properties down the road, or down, I should say, the riverbed. Now, people who frequent it or understand it, there's no, the spillway is gone, they disagree. Okay, the people who are around it, I think, they disagree with what the state has determined to be high hazard. They don't believe it's high hazard, and they probably would like to do, just as you said, just leave us alone up here. The only problem is the liability stands with the town. If they consider it high hazard and we refuse to do anything with it, when they are willing, the state, to pay for whatever we want to have done. They just don't pay for ongoing costs. They will pay for having the riverbed completely fixed and all the special fauna and flora all replaced, whole thing. or they will, fix it completely. It'll probably hold back a little more water if it's fixed. And then we just have to maintain it, and if there's public access, obviously there'll be some insurance issues that we'll have to make sure. If it's public access, we have to make sure the public can get there.
And the state wants to wash their hands of it.
Basically, yes, I'd say so.
Because it's one
So-
less high-risk property within the state, right?
If you listen to the people who go there, frequent it, and live around it, they think it's crazy that there's going to be any kind of removal or any kind of repair. It's just fine the way it is. Unfortunately, if we have to listen to the state, which produced a book at least this thick about the reasons why it's high hazard, as a community, I don't think we can just say, oh, well, we're not going to do anything if something were to go, bad. So I think we can have our attorney look at it, but I don't think we have a lot of options. I don't think we can just say, well, yeah, it's high hazard, but we'll see what happens.
So we're responsible for the dam even though we don't own the property?
Well, we'd have to own the property. They're saying.
No, I'm just saying if we left it alone.
Yeah, well, because we have been warned. We have been told by the agency of the
Right.
state to say, this
So
is
it's our
on-
responsibility now.
Yeah,
just
it's your
because of whatever.
responsibility. Once they've identified it's on our,
Yep.
area, then,
Okay.
they freely admit that there's no active deed on the property.
Okay.
And trust me, nobody wants to buy it. I mean, we tried to talk East Quabbin Land Trust, they own the western bank of it, not own, whatever, they have it. And they want no part of doing anything else around it, so, and I understand that. If the state had not put that high hazard designation on it and provided us with the data that says you have to do something about it and we'll pay for it, it's really hard to say we won't do anything about it. The state's saying, pick what you want us to do, we'll pay for it, and they will do the entire thing. We don't have to worry about, procurement, they take care of the whole thing. And it's just, a lot of people don't want it to be removed because they like the area that has a little bit of pond to it.
What's the purpose of East Quabbin Land Trust securing their parcel? What's the?
I think it's a nice piece of land to just trot around on, and they come in a totally different way. There's a lot of, bird
Do they
life.
pay tax?
No,
No, they're a land trust, but they own lots of parcels.
No, yeah, they do. I just didn't know if they had a purpose to own that, whether there's.
well, open land.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to conserve certain properties throughout the community.
I mean, the Mount Ida Trust incorporated over 1,000 acres this year in open land.
Is the state going to pay for the land if we have to purchase
We
it?
don't have to purchase it. I think all we have to do is go we have to go through some legal machinations. What those are, I don't know, to own land that nobody owns.
But it's not at a cost to us.
Yes, it is. That would be at a cost to us if we decide to fix the dam. If we decide to let the dam, take the dam out and thus let it go.
Then there's no cost.
Yeah, we wouldn't have to purchase the land for that.
But if we want to keep it up and have it look nice,
Right, well, we have to, yeah.
We would
don't
need
want
to
it do
purchase the
high
land.
hazard again, we have to take care of it.
right. But then that would be at a cost to the town.
Yes.
Okay.
There would be legal expense to the town to take the, right, Jake? There would be a legal expense.
Yes, the property has been in tax title for some time. When I started, the town administrator at the time told me, don't take this to court right yet because there's a huge problem with this dam. As far as we're aware, there are no present owners alive. Dr. Marsh is correct about that. So we could initiate a proceeding in land court, but I'll tell you the land court does not move quickly and it could be 18 months to 2 years.
We can hold our breath that long, huh?
And
Well, the thing is, I don't know if there's a kind of a drop dead date for the state, because they have a lot of these across the Commonwealth to fix. And I don't know why we were in this group, because I think of the high hazard stamp, the designation that they put on that dam.
yeah, well, I
Did
no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Did they specify what properties would be damaged?
Oh, yes, there's a whole list
Yeah.
of all of the properties that would be damaged and.
The Allen factory, so that dam downstream of that is the Allen factory
And
dam.
they even name the parcels, that you can go into the assessor's books and say, these are the parcels that they feel would be damaged significantly.
With houses on, with
Yeah.
those houses.
Pretty much South Barry down throughout there.
And I.
All that
if
low-lying
you-
land.
If you were to look at the amount of water that appears to be there, it is like hard to believe that their, designation of high hazard is correct. But that's not my thing, so
Well, there was a dam specialist, right?
well, that they claimed.
Yeah.
But then we felt, in asking some questions, that they were hard pressed to say, have you been up to that dam, or have you done just everything from aerial views? And they hummed and hawed, well, yeah, there must have been, because this and that.
It's a long walk in there.
It's a long walk in there,
But it-
and,
But then, we did discuss this a couple meetings ago, but the non-binding is to basically pulse check the town.
Yeah.
To see, what they're willing to do with the parcel.
and there's no question that the people who live around there, some people who've grown up around there, talk about ice skating there, talk about kayaking there. I don't know if people fish there, I guess they do. So there's that, nostalgia thing, and then there's other people who are more into the environmental piece. The environmental people say, absolutely, take it out. So you've got a group of them mobilizing, I think, because I hear more from them lately.
And there's a group of people that feel very strongly that if that were to be opened up and the water that has collected there is allowed to go wherever
Supposed to,
water goes, that it's going to negatively affect our wells in town because they claim something to do with the aquifer, the water filtering into the aquifer, and then they say that there are certain wells in town that are not that are inoperative, and they feel that sometime, and that's,
Well, that's opinion, right? That's not fact-based.
no, this is all opinion.
Okay.
Right, and that's why this meeting was held today, because from what I'm understanding, and I didn't go to the meeting, but from what I'm understanding is that the Quabbin people wanna let more water go out towards Boston and divert it away from Barre, is that right? Or-
no, what they want to do is, this is a group of people who are filing, senators and representatives who are filing legislation to indicate that there is a need for more compensation to those towns who have, some of which aren't even there anymore, but for the towns, for example, Barre, who gives almost 30% of its land to protect the watershed.
Oh, yeah, like the Whale River and,
And same thing for Hubbardston, same thing for, so all the town folks from those places where they are. They also talk a little bit about the fact of, for example, there's people there, from the government saying, there's not enough water for Holden, there's not enough water for Shrewsbury. They're looking to take the water before it gets to Boston. I don't think that's gonna fly. Whereas this group is saying, we are the stewards of your water system, Boston, and you're gonna start paying us for it. The pilot money that we're getting now is so insignificant,
yeah.
we can't even use it. Well, they're putting in a lot of legislation to change that, and also for providing ways in which we may, because we are the beneficiary, they are the beneficiary, that we should get first dibs if we need water from
No, why not tap in, yeah.
So at any rate, that was the, kind of the meeting, and it's basically legislation, is let the water, it's called the water bill, and that will be something that will be ongoing, and, so I was there, Michael was there, Kathy Chase, one of the people running for the water commission was there, so we have, and then there's some information that we have to provide about what do we think, would we ever access the water if we were able to? And of course, it would come from Harvard and, right in, and we have a relatively large water system for a small town. And we have wells that have issues, and having access, if we needed it, to Quabbin would, it's a long way to imagine the amount of work that would have to go into it. However, there's a lot of work. It took the Ware River, turned it around and brought it into, to the reservoir and then sent it back out to Boston. And so people are saying, it's about time we got paid for what we're, we have no economic development, we have this, none of this, none of this, because we have to save all of the land for the watershed, which we're happy to do, sort of. So the meeting was very well attended. And I would say, you know, Senator Comerford was there, Senator, the guy from, just got elected over in Spencer for us, to Bowman's place.
I know what you're talking about. Yes.
Yeah, and a couple reps were there and so forth, and a lot of mass water resource people, authority people, because I guess the legislators from the western part of the state, they're saying, the gig's up.
Yeah, and no,
We're done.
we'll definitely get
We need
to that.
give us something back.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, so we understand that. I do want to just try to get back on track a little bit with the debt exclusion piece, and maybe, Jake, you might be able to help us here. Do we know what's coming off the debt exclusion schedule relatively soon?
Not
And-
specifically off the debt exclusion schedule, but our multi-band, that's about 171,000 payment a year,
Yeah,
should be ending, let me look at my notes, I want to say it's 27, but let me just confirm that. Yeah, the combined improvement plan, which has been debt excluded, will be coming off in FY '27. That's the major thing.
that's the one that we just was approved.
Was the one we just made a debt exclusion.
Okay.
I would suspect that the high, the
Oh.
middle, the elementary school roof and windows, that's
Yeah.
another piece, and then then the common issue, that's another piece.
Yeah, because the common should be coming off very soon
I
too.
would think.
The common ones are set to come off soon. Just look, one of them's coming off in '26, it looks like, and that's a $75,000 principal payment.
That's good.
So someone is going through all this to get ready for town meeting, where the
Absolutely.
options are gonna say how much this is gonna cost and how much it's gonna.
Well, we hope to have that in a sort of a, this is where we are with indebtedness. You know, when we give that to the voters as information, we'll give them information on the old reservoir dam,
Mhm.
and we'll give them information, but we will not be speaking to it because we can't. We can't go up to a town meeting floor and say, I think you should do X. We can't do that.
Well, the debt exclusion is, it's a vote at the
It's a
poll.
vote at
And that doesn't require a town meeting
No, it
vote.
does not.
So I just want to make sure that the voters that do show up at the poll, we have 2 more meetings before the April.
Right, and the information's gonna have to actually come from us. You can't give out information, like how you do with the state questions when they have.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't
no,
do it that
100%.
route. So it has to be like
So-
in all our meetings.
Could we get a full, for the next meeting, a full schedule of debt exclusions and like the approximate amount per taxpayer, like what's coming on? Because I'd like the town to be able to see, okay, we're taking on a new debt exclusion, right? But these are coming off, and like, what's our net, right? What's net gonna be on the taxpayer if we debt exclude the fire truck?
That piece I can't provide, you'll need to include assessing. They're the ones that can tell you what per household
assessors.
and about.
Oh, on the debt-
I'm telling you what's going to be expiring and when. but
Yeah.
You're gonna need assessors for that per household costs.
On the debt
Yes.
exclusions?
You will need assessors for that.
You be able to work on that for us?
Well, I'll ask them, so you wanna know what the debt, if we did the debt exclusion on the.
Yeah, what
700
the debt schedule is in
Yeah.
terms of what's gonna fall off, like in FY '26. So if the average taxpayer is paying $25, right? And this debt exclusion for the fire truck ends up costing each taxpayer $35. So that's only a net difference of $10 per fiscal year, and then, the multi-band comes off in '27. So then, what's the effect of that tax rate, the debt excluded tax rate? To put it down into a consumable form, so that way, like, I can understand it. Yeah.
I have to excuse myself, I'm on the thing with Ed Quammen for changing the regional agreement. So I'm.
Well, thank you for all of your input and your time.
One more thing, Maureen, on this dam, so you have 3 options, really. Do nothing.
Yep.
Do you think the liability is automatically transferred from the state to us?
I don't know,
If we do nothing, we'd have to.
we can talk with the attorney.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would hate to put the town in jeopardy by doing nothing, if they're saying that the thing is high hazard. If it didn't say high hazard, if it said low hazard, whatever, we wouldn't get the money. You know what I mean? So the fact that they're willing to pay for this says, But I don't even think they've got
And
the money
technically, we
yet.
don't have, there's no owners on that dam,
There's
so
no-
I don't even know how they could really, I don't know for sure, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. Regardless, I mean, there's gonna be a minor expense to the town with legal expense, you know, just to take the property, and then potentially a recurring cost to maintain the property after.
So,
Unless-
but you're gonna submit 2 options or 3?
Well,
nothing.
I
Are
don't
you-
think- I don't think we're doing the do nothing option.
I don't
You're
think you
not,
do nothing.
okay.
Have a nice night.
It was a try.
You know, with that, because I did attend that first meeting where the state was here in the town, and they had all their diagrams and their graphs and stuff like that. You just have to go on the basis that, you know, they're categorized this as a high risk, and if everything they're saying could happen, you know, you kind of need to do something. Because you don't want the dam to let out. You know, you get one of these catastrophic events that no one expects, and all of a sudden we get 24 inches of rainfall. You know, like,
There's a consensus that the wording of the state is such that they'd love to take it off their plate.
oh, of course, because they were, when they presented, they want to allocate the funds or move on to the next project, because there are other projects waiting in the wings, right? So if like, we're kind of holding them up for over 18 months now with,
I was told by a politician from Boston who remains to be unrecognized. He said, Sam, he said, I take the letter from the state and throw it away and forget about it. That was his words.
you can do that.
Yeah, that was his words.
I have a question.
Yep.
I don't know if I should have asked Maureen, but I remember the last meeting that we had, she had said that there was a possibility that we could do the loan differently on the fire truck because we didn't pay the initial 75 or something like that. So maybe I'm misspeaking, but I guess I'm just wondering, if the town decides not to debt exclude, what does that mean? So like, you know,
There's the potential that the debt itself could be restructured, right? Is that correct, Jake? Like, into a longer, like, band type of,
If we're talking about, so there's 2 fire trucks. One of them, it sounds like, people get them confused. One with the 70,000, that I believe was.
So that's
no,
a
this is not.
completely different
Yeah,
scenario.
this is
Oh, all
the,
right.
Talking about the leased one.
the
I assume,
the
right?
7-year lease
Yeah,
agreement.
the leased one, it's just over 700,000. It's over 7 years. The payment, I want to say, is about 127,000 a year. It's just a lease. We get nothing when it's over. We do appear, and I don't know if town council agrees with me, but we do appear to have the right to buy it out of the lease early in the second year, not the first year, but the second. So what I would recommend is that we take care of that payment, which I don't sadly think was budgeted properly for this fiscal year. We take that possibly out of stabilization, and that we do a buyout next year. We go to town meeting, we have something that basically undoes the lease language, restores it to the original article that you and select board wanted, that would authorize me to do bans. And with bans, we're looking at rates just under 5% right now. We can do them yearly, and I can roll them up to 10 times. So you'd probably see that payment come down, and then if we debt excluded it, it would be less than the 127,002, I believe.
The town debt excludes it this cycle. Does that change that process?
I don't know. That might be a question for council possibly. Just because you have a legal lease that we've entered into with provisions.
Yeah, I thought it was a lease to own, right?
No, my understanding and reading of the lease is we return the truck at the end. We get nothing.
No.
I don't think
Unless
that's.
council reads it differently, my understanding from the schedule is the truck is returned. And then we
Well,
don't.
we were led to believe it was leased, and we own the truck at the end of the lease.
We'd have to look at the lease again,
Yeah.
but my recollection was that that wasn't the case.
That's what was proposed at town meeting. I mean, I wonder if there's a conflict of contract.
Yeah.
Right, so can I ask a question? So if we went ahead and paid that,
Definitely
say
want to change the way
127,000,
it's
now we're gonna lose that funding, is that Because it's basically leased to
Give the truck.
give back, would be leased.
No, because we make a payment each year, it would lower the amount, there's a schedule
Okay,
in the
so it's
lease.
still,
So the buyout in the second year would be like 580 something
Okay.
thousand.
okay,
And that's the sum that we would then
Put the ban.
go out to ban with.
okay.
But I thought you said that we would pay for it at the end of the term, we'd have to give it back?
If we stuck to the lease, my reading of the lease was that it appeared that we would have to return the truck. However, I could be wrong about that. I'm not the
Yeah.
attorney that's interpreting that. That would be town council's job to tell you.
Can we just get confirmation on that,
Yeah.
you know, before we,
Do we have a fire chief at the present moment?
You mean to say all these,
think we have
all
an
these
interim.
wear marks that we would have in the seat, we'd be wasting?
Possibly.
all right. Any other questions on the debt exclusion fire truck?
Wow.
That's a huge thing. Okay.
No? Okay.
Some pretty big ones there.
We're on to you, Jake. And the treasurer collector.
All right. Pull up a chair.
How are you today?
I'm doing okay. Unfortunately, I had a rather large car bill. $600 I did not expect to spend.
Oh, for repairs?
Yes, unfortunately, my serpentine belt.
Oh, boy.
Mhm.
Oh,
You mean to say
it's
you
only
don't buy
600? You're lucky.
any of these insurances that they sell nowadays?
No. I had other work that was warranty covered though, thankfully.
That's how I felt when I paid my excise taxes.
Yes, well, the newer the vehicle, the worse it'll be.
Yeah, I know. All right, and, all right, so we got your budget here for FY '26.
Yes, that's the ideal budget. I know we were required to do another one for cuts, but that somehow didn't make it to you guys, unfortunately.
I can send that out to you. I thought it was, I did send it over. but
Yeah, I do have it
unfortunately it's not in the
digitally,
packet.
but that's not necessarily helpful.
On screen.
I mean, we can kind of talk through it if you want.
Yeah,
Yeah, go one line at a time.
So are there any changes to, like, comparatively, so we can see the 2.5 COLA? That's what's here in the original request, correct?
yes, and in my cut budget, I was assuming more like 2%, because I'm assuming we're still gonna have to give employees something for inflation.
Mm-hmm.
I just assumed a lower amount in that event.
Okay, and the other one?
Yeah, in the budget that would be focused on cuts.
Okay.
So, I mean, contrasting it, in the first budget, I assume a 2.5% COLA with no staffing reduction and small increases in department budget, as well as a healthy increase in the tax title line. I may be able to forego that depending on how our tax title comes this year, because I can carry forward some of the sums. The amounts carried forward have gone down. This latest carried forward was only $700 something. We do expend from the tax title budget. It's what sustains our court cases. And we have received land back. For example, we just got 1000 West Street recently, and we're in the process of disposing it. Unfortunately, the law changed in November, so there's a whole new process, and DOR is still catching up on the advice. So for in the budget too, I'm assuming a smaller COLA, obviously, as I said. I would have to seek reduction in staffing, probably in order to really effectuate cuts. Otherwise, I would just be level funding everything else. It really, the only place to cut is staffing. The unfortunate thing about that is that it will mean a reduction in services to the public, and it will mean increased work for the staff that remain.
Hmm?
How many staff are over there?
I have 2 assistants right now. I have an
Two.
assistant treasurer collector and an assistant treasurer.
What are the hours that they
The
put in?
assistant treasurer collector works 32 hours a week, and the assistant treasurer works 21 hours for me. She also works for the fire department.
On the same time?
No, they pay her for the days she works.
Okay.
And what's the bottom line on that other budget, on the simple one, the lower cost?
For
one?
cutting, I could probably get about $6,000 or so out of the budget, but again, as I said, I have to take it mostly out of staffing.
We just need to know.
And for, do we not do, is that one of the lines we had to remove was tax title for 25? Because it shows 0 on this.
No, there should be a tax title line. It is in the
It
budget.
was 10,000 for the tax sale last year. remember?
Yeah,
that's-
tax title expenses right here, 10,000 in the budget. So the account definitely has it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So that bottom line on this Excel, is that off because of
It
that?
could be.
I think it's pretty straightforward. Any other questions for,
All right, so we're sure of the bottom line? I mean, we have the accurate number here on a piece of paper?
Your FY '26 would be accurate, yes.
168?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
So, and we're also looking at significant increases in some budgets we have no choice on. Health insurance is gonna be just over 11%. Worcester Regional Retirement's assessment is increasing, I wanna say 18%. And that is including the early prepaid discount.
are you presenting that too? Is that you, County Retirement? Is that you?
I think so,
So
yeah.
unfortunately, when I sent it over, she must have picked a different email, didn't realize there were two of them. That's- And I didn't have a chance to go through the
It
packets,
happens,
I'm
we'll get it
sorry.
sent out. So,
So we got the retirement. There was another one you said was moving
health
up?
insurance is gonna be about 11.32%.
Did that one not make it over?
It may
I
not
sent
have
it
been.
this- Yeah, she must have, it was confusing when,
Yeah, we're actually, I hate to say it, lucky. The range for health insurance renewal was 9.9 to 19.9 with an average of 14.8. So we were actually below average ones. We're usually above average when it comes to increases with that.
Right.
Are we, so you're talking county retirement too?
Yes, county retirement, we get an annual assessment. They basically tell us what we pay and we don't really have a choice.
But yeah, I understand that part, but how, what people are we paying for? Are
We're paying for our retirees.
only in our town, even though it says county? We're not paying for
Yes, all the
sheriff.
towns in the retirement program are assessed for their employees and their liabilities that are brought to the
Yeah.
retirement.
Okay.
And like I said, unfortunately, we really have no mechanism to appeal an increase.
Jake, why does that go up so high? I'm just curious.
It's based on their actuarials, so I can't really answer that. That would be a question
It's
for
just so
Worcester
high,
Regional.
right? 18.6.
It is, but like I said,
It has nothing to do with the number of employees an increase in the number of employees we have?
I would have to ask Worcester Regional, but I think at this point, they're mostly accounting for previously and presently retired employees.
Wow.
On the textile expense, you mentioned that we've been selling some land. What's
Yes, we recently had, within the last 18 months or so, we recently had an auction. We sold land on North Brookfield Road and Summer Street. Summer Street is in the process of building a new home, as is North Brookfield. North Brookfield just had to go through, I believe, the zoning board for theirs, but they were approved. So that didn't bring in a lot of money, but the most that it did was it allowed us to write off the tax title difference. We brought in some money, which was good. I think it was about 50,000 combined, which was good for our revenue because it was unanticipated revenue that came in. Unfortunately, that process has now been kind of taken away from us as of November 1st with the new tax title law. So now, when we receive the land, we can't just go to auction and try to dispose of it. We now have to list with a broker for a year first, and then if it doesn't sell, then we go to auction. So that's the process we're dealing with 1000 West Street, since we got that in December, is we're now having to decide how we're going to go about it. So the select board decided to sell it, so we're going through with that, and now we're listing it with a broker. I'll have to get that done, I think, just before May. And then it'll be a year before we can take it to auction.
Have to clean up the site?
Nope, we are gonna be selling it as is. How much is
You don't think
the
that-
selling amount? We're looking at probably about 73 or so thousand, which is about what is owed on the property right now. The most that the family could demonstrate to the land court its value could be is 80,000, and we're allowed to do 2/3. So the 73 is over the 2/3 of the best proven value, therefore we can list it for that. So we will list it for that sum. Odds are, somebody probably won't buy it because of the cleanup. You know, that could cost tens of thousands to any buyer in order to make it buildable and so forth again. So we're probably looking at waiting a year, and then when the year is over, going to auction at that point, and then maybe somebody will buy it for less than the 70, and we'll write off the difference.
What's the typical investment from the town to do that process?
Well, there's a lot of unknowns with this new process, so I'm not quite clear on how the broker will be compensated if it does actually sell. DOR has really only released guidance on this part of the process and not terribly detailed yet as we'd like. A lot of state agencies and entities were really expecting the General Court to listen to the governor and postpone this law till July 1st, and we're kind of caught by surprise when the General Court refused. So we're all kind of stuck with this at the moment. DOR is still providing you guidance, and the process is still new for all of us.
We're making progress, very slow, but progress
Indeed.
on that property.
Yes. So the good news is it's now the town's. The
Yeah.
less good news is it's going to take a year before we can dispose of it.
Unless the broker sells it.
Right.
True, which would be interesting to see happen. I'm just concerned because of the cleanup. There really is some hazardous cleanup that needs to happen.
What kind of hazard?
I can't describe that deeply, except that I expect that it would be. It's, I think, housing debris, and as we learned with the forest fires, houses have a lot of toxic chemicals in them. The older the build, the more likely they do have that. So you're probably looking at 20, 30,000 cleanup on that property. So anyone who buys it for the 73 is going in knowing it's going to cost them over 100, which may not be economical for every developer.
What's the size of the parcel?
I don't know the exact size, I'd have to look it up with the assessors, but it's a sizable lot.
But you get to set the price that the broker sells it at.
We do, we set it at the 73 because like I said, it's the 2/3 of what they could prove to the land court its value was, which was about 80,000, that was the best appraised value.
If you got an offer for, let's say, 10,000 less, would you accept it, or is that not?
I would have to check with tax title council whether we could or not. Part of the new law is an emphasis on us trying, so the excess equity question. In the past, we didn't have to worry about that, and if there was excess equity, then we just had to provide it back to the prior owner. But the state, with the way they have written this new law, we now basically have to try to get excess equity. We have to try to get the best value possible for the land, and so that we can maximize what we can get back to the prior owner if there is anything to get back.
Is that after all accrued expenses?
Right now, the 73, yes.
But for any property, like if you had all the legal expenses, like
Yes, the legal
everything?
expenses
Yeah.
are added into it, there's one sum that's determined, and then as long as in our case, if we get nothing more than the 73,000, there is nothing in access to give, and it establishes the new market value for the property is that.
Okay, that makes sense. Always get to learn something new every day.
Well, that's why you guys like having us come in, I assume.
No, absolutely. Of course. Well, just make sure everything's good and, really to make sure that, all the voters at town meeting who have to approve this phenomenal budget are well-versed, or hopefully well-versed in where their tax dollars go. So.
Of course. And 26 is going to be a typical year.
So if a year goes
Yeah.
by and it goes to auction, then the price goes down.
We can accept less, yes. Not that we want less, but we can accept less and we can write the difference off. So we can accept what we receive, write the difference off of our books. That helps us with the auditors, it helps us in a lot of metrics.
Anything else for Jake? Well, thank you so much, sir, for your time. Appreciate
Thanks for
it.
having me.
Thank you for all the information.
Of course.
Next up, we have the COA, the Council on Aging. I saw that budget. I know my laptop battery died too, so I can't look at it on the computer screen.
Hello again.
Oh, a long time.
I just didn't, I don't think I met you the last time. You weren't here last time. My name's Irina. Betty Jo. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too.
Electricity? Seems like we gotta make our own.
I know. One thing that's going up and isn't going.
Is there
isn't
any
going down.
reason for that big jump?
Yes, because the utility company is going up,
Mhm.
and we are also anticipating using the facility much more than
Much
we
more,
are
okay.
at the present time.
And it's heated by electricity?
Oil, it's
Oh,
oil.
heated by oil.
Yes, oil.
So the electricity is just cooling or?
Yes, cooling, the lights.
Lights,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yep.
Yeah, we use less electricity at our house and it costs us a lot more. Why is that? I don't understand that.
I did estimate a 5% increase in what we're currently has, so I averaged what the bills were, what we could possibly do for, what the average bill would be for a month, taking all the months into consideration. And then I added a 5% increase to that. But thankfully, the oil came in, came in around the same.
So far.
Yeah, so far.
And you're looking to add a receptionist role?
Yes. Current, how it was done in the past is with senior work-off.
Mm-hmm.
That's very limited amount of time that you can do that, so we need someone that's there part-time. It's gonna be a part-time position, about 12 hours a week. And that's to help us make sure that we are getting the seniors to sign in on the sign-in system that we have, because we have state reporting that we need to do. So we need someone sitting at the desk that can actually direct people, make sure that they're actually doing the things that we need to get done to make sure that we have the state reporting done properly. So someone there consistently, not a volunteer. We're doing a volunteer right now, and we just can't count on the person because everything comes up, and you can't really count on somebody to be doing it on a volunteer basis either. So we're looking to make it a more permanent, and what I figured for the position is we do have a formula grant, and we were planning to pay $5,000 of that total expense out of the formula grant, and then asking the town for $4,300, $4,360. So the total amount would be $9,360, and we would use the part of the formula grant to fund that.
And the formula grant, can you elaborate on what that is and where those funds come from?
Sure. The state pays the senior centers based on the 2020 census. So we have 1,211 seniors, and they pay us $15 per senior. And so we can take that money and we can use it on different things, programs with the senior center. We can use it for something like receptionist.
How about Hardwick?
Hardwick.
Is that added in?
So Hardwick is what we pay our outreach person from. Those funds are solely to pay our outreach coordinator that we have.
Okay. So they don't add into the formula then?
Well, we do get, they have 811,
Mhm.
and so times 15. And so that amount is what we pay the outreach
Oh, okay.
person
Now I got it.
with.
Okay. Thank you.
So that's over this $9,000.
It's separate.
No,
No.
it's 5,000.
So, I'm sorry? Oh, I'm sorry.
So that this says the outreach coordinator, the amount is $9,000.
Right,
So there's
because-
there's an additional amount that you pay them. So they don't just get 9, they get more than that. But that additional money comes from the Hardwick.
So.
Is that what you're saying?
Right, so 12,195 comes from Hardwick. And then we put in the 9,000 to make up.
Right.
the
So that's what I was
difference.
saying. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
to
So
make up
we
the
would only be
difference.
on for the 9,000, not less
Yes.
than that, because they're making more than that. We're
Yes.
just paying $9,000 of it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is that the only contributions that Hardwick provides?
Yes.
So Barry has 1211, Hardwick has 811?
So, they have 811 seniors.
Qualified seniors, yeah.
Yep, and we have 1,211.
Yep.
Do you have any statistics about percentage-wise of how many of those people are showing up for meetings and so at your facility?
So we do have my senior center, which I can run a report to say how many people come from Hardwick, other facilities
Right.
from Barre. Yeah, I can run a report on that.
Do you know, has there ever been a paid receptionist at the senior center prior?
Not that I'm aware of.
May not be the best year for that.
Yeah, I know.
And you mentioned something about using the building more, so therefore a cost increase to utilities, or at least electricity here. What's going to be the increased plan? Like, how you plan to increase usage at the senior center?
So, we have an organization that's gonna be using it on Sunday. We're planning to open, right now, I'm planning to open it one night a week, to offer seniors that are working and can't access it during the day, to have that. And we're finalizing, I know that the select board, I don't know, last week or 2 weeks ago, got our facility usage policy so that we can start renting it out to people who want to have shower parties, whatever, or organizations that would like to use it. So we're hoping to utilize the building a lot more.
And the org on Sunday, is there a fee charged to them, or are they a town affiliated organization?
Yes, there is a fee that they're going to pay.
Okay. And that gets paid back to the town through the cherry sheet,
Turnover sheets.
turnover sheet?
So hopefully that'll offset some of this increase.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
if you,
probably not gonna be much, it's only
No.
$25 a week that they're
No.
paying, so
For
it's
that
Well, no,
Sunday
I was
is
thinking of-
$25 a week. So it's $100 a month, so $1,200.
For the rental, if you go to the rental.
and on
But
the,
yes, yes,
Maybe.
yes.
on a facility usage policy,
Region all closes down.
would that be a higher rate at the facility
Yes,
usage?
yes. So it depends on if you're a for-profit or you're a nonprofit, what the price would be. And then there's a price for if anybody in town wanted to come and use it for a party or something, there's a set rate for a one-time.
And how much would that be, do you know?
I think it's $200,
Is that for like a 4-hour period?
3-hour period, I believe.
And is there a cleanup charge or anything like that in
That's
addition?
supposed to cover
Okay.
those costs.
And whose task is it with doing like cleanup and after an event like that? Is that like is that your job, or is there somebody else there?
No,
like
so
maintenance?
we have someone who comes on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay,
And cleans the building.
and that's part of the maintenance expense?
No, that's not.
Is
something
that
we
through
do.
building
Oh, yes, it'd be
management?
through under the select board. Yeah.
That's one thing that always drove me nuts, is how we,
Step
things are
away.
just like everywhere.
Yes, putting this together was quite a time. Also, one of the reasons why there's an increase is because in the previous budget, trash was not included on that. So there were a few things on here as I was going through and trying to figure out what all this was. And we previously didn't have any contracts for HVAC So maintenance, so I had to get that. We didn't have exterminating. We had to add the trash in, which is a huge, a big expense. So some of this, I recouped some of that cost by reducing the maintenance repair line from 10,000 down to 6,000. But, it wasn't enough. I don't want to put myself short. I have a 20-year-old building.
Yeah, so the expense lines, like the emergency, I believe, like the emergency light testing.
Yeah.
Was that previously part of another line, or is that an added expense overall?
So
Because it's a few.
I'm not sure how the previous manager grouped the expenses.
Mm-hmm.
What I found to be most efficient was to itemize each one so that I make sure that we are capturing each one. So, these are all of the things that we do for maintenance for the building. And before we got the budget, I did get the fiscal year, I had them commit to the 26 prices, so where you see actual, those are actual prices I do have. And then the other ones are estimated, like fire extinguishers. I don't know if 3 fire extinguishers are gonna have to be replaced or 1, or, so I'm not sure, so that was just my best guess. I don't know if that answered your question, but what I tried to do is just list out everything that I know of and put the actual price, and that's how I found that the trash wasn't included. And
So, I mean, basically though, if we go on the budget and we look up that account, ending in 57,000.
yeah,
All right, that bottom line's gonna match, like that 4125 for FY '25, that's gonna match. And then you have it broken down here, right, in FY '26, so it looks like the expenses, for utilities and maintenance and, office expenses increased a total of $5,000.
which was the trash, basically, a line that was not on there before.
So the trash was not being paid out of that account prior to?
It wasn't on the budget, it wasn't on, if you look at the previous year, it was not on there, so, I don't know how,
It wasn't on there. Let me see my.
DPW pick up the trash?
no.
I mean, previous.
I honestly couldn't answer that. I've only been here a year, so
But I probably must have.
I don't know how many, the big stuff now.
There it is. I was gonna look at
Waste
the,
management, yeah.
look at the budget. So you're saying that in FY '24 and FY '25, that the waste was not included in the expenditures of the account?
I could not find that. If it was, I couldn't find where it was.
Is this 1055? Because everything is lumped in. Right, that account was a total of $48,900. You have it listed here at 41, so there's a discrepancy with the FY '25. Because the FY '25, what was approved was 48.9. Right, that's all of the expenses under account 55415700. And then there's the outreach coordinator, that's its own count, that's correct. And then there's your salary, which is correct. So the bottom line here, the subtotal for FY '25, that was approved in the budget, and we've already expended 51% at $23,725, was $48,900 even. So that number does exceed what you future forecasted for FY '26.
So you're saying 48,000?
Yeah, that's what the budget shows. This is the one that just came out on
Yeah.
dated the 20th, so just past week.
I'm not sure what you're looking at. This sheet that I got was given to me in an email. That's what I used. I just filled in
Yeah.
the
From the account?
26 part.
The account?
No, probably the prior
Oh,
director. Is that where you get that
No, I
from?
got this in an email.
Probably was for me, but I'm just looking myself.
Okay. Because we didn't amend, right, COA.
We did not amend COA, no.
So in that case, then I'm in good shape, because I'm going down in numbers.
You would be in
I'm
good
doing
shape,
better on my
right?
budget.
I'm with you,
Because
right?
I budgeted 46 for that, so.
Well,
I'm doing
in
good, so it's even, it's just,
the expenditures, I mean, you're right, I mean, you're actually trending ahead of budget, for how far we are along in the fiscal year for expenditures. Now, your outreach hasn't paid out anything, right? Is that correct? Year to date. So your outreach account hasn't paid out a single dollar so far.
so they will exhaust the Hardwick money,
Yeah.
and then I believe, and I don't know this to be a fact, but this is what my understanding is, they'll exhaust the Hardwick money, and then they will make a transfer to Hardwick, because it gets paid out of Hardwick. They will make a transfer to pay Hardwick, and we'll use the rest of that money.
So what I would, just a suggestion, so we get a cleaned up document, right? I would just amend, if you could make amendments to this,
Sure,
and then have it resubmitted,
sure.
so we can take a look at it. Because, I mean, if you're within the same budget, it might be easier to try to fund your receptionist versus, here it looks like you're over budget by $5,000 there, and then add another, so it looks like you're over budget by $12,000. Yeah, so quite a significant increase. Yeah, that's one thing, I appreciate you putting together the itemized piece, because, having just the account, we don't see that breakdown on the budget piece, right? It's just that one, it's all bunched into that one line, so I'd certainly appreciate that. That's definitely helpful. And I'm glad you found, your waste expense not being properly documented. So this is definitely a helpful piece.
absolutely.
Any other questions for Council of Aging? Excellent, well, thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Betty.
Great job.
You as well. Felton Field. Hey, how are ya? How are things going on down at the field these days?
Quiet right now.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
Trying to lock the gates, keep them in one there.
get all mudded out. I mean, your budget's level funded. How's everything going since we last met? I think you started outsourcing a couple years ago the maintenance of the fields and stuff, the mowing and stuff. How's that going?
It's our biggest expense.
It was great. Rich Glenn did a great job.
Yes, it is.
Nice.
Yeah, just level funded, I guess, which is probably below what we need, but.
We're not asking for more. We scrape by, we're okay.
How did you guys do with there's like vandalism, right?
Yes, the food booth was totally destroyed.
So we got it back.
You got it back.
Yeah,
Oh, great.
got it back. That was 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah,
2 years ago.
vandalism comes and goes, depends who's living in the area.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's a challenge, right?
But since then, we really haven't had any.
No.
Somebody drove through the gate in the rain.
That was a couple years
Yeah,
ago,
that's it. But we are on a tight budget.
too. But,
We do a lot ourselves.
go ahead and do it, yeah, we'll do it, watch. I got a tractor of my own down there, we drive the range with it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But we do okay, we scraped by. We managed, we had some money and we did the bathrooms over. Not totally, but spruced them up pretty good.
Nice. I think the thing we would love, but it's such a major thing, is a grant for that white building. But
Yeah.
we've talked to a couple of grant writers, and I think so what she said, it would have to be a town agreement to use that building for meetings and things.
Yeah, it has
That's
to be
gonna
used
happen
a lot.
in order to get a grant.
Yeah.
We don't use it much for anything, and there's no sprinklers, there's no elevator or anything like that, so
Then we have,
limited as to what you can do with it.
there would have to be a major grant.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be, we'd never ask the town if it was that. It would be nice.
Now, that was like, because I know you were looking to try to do the windows and stuff over that, what you're still trying to get done down there.
We do have some money that, very fair can
Mm-hmm.
can only be used for that building. So we're looking at that. We'll do something, we need to replace the windows to make it watertight.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Yeah, and you're still doing the regular events.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a couple fewer this year so far. We
yeah,
did,
we lost a couple of groups.
in the 250th anniversary, they had a couple of events on there.
Mhm.
We didn't charge them.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're actually working on an advertisement for Major Horse Magazine to get some more horse groups in.
Oh, nice. They still do the powwow thing down there?
They didn't come back because when I asked her about it, she said the neighborhood kids threw eggs at them.
Really?
And
That's wild. I didn't hear that. We were down there one
They were
time.
harassed by the neighborhood, I say neighborhood kids, I don't know whether they were in the
It
neighborhood.
was in that same time frame that we were having all that.
Yes,
trouble.
yeah. But we haven't had vandalism.
No, we haven't had
We haven't till last year.
Yeah. Hopefully it was just kids and they grew up, smartened up, or moved out.
Away
All the
in
above.
jail.
Right, they're gone, that's all.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's good. And your account is it looks like it's what is it, a rollover, what do you call that? It carries over?
Yeah, he did have it. I put the 10.5 because it
revolving
was
account?
unencumbered. He did have it unencumbered there.
Yeah.
And that was why that 10.5 was there, because he still used it for FY '24.
The
Okay.
town treasurer was getting, she's the one who pays all the bills, so.
Yeah.
I can't even tell you what they all are. Some of them now are electronically going straight to her. I used to get the bills, fill out the form, and bring them to her, but some of them now are going straight to her, so I don't even see them.
Gas goes straight there.
Gas goes straight to her, yes.
Okay. So there's not, we don't require an approval process from,
For what?
like, for like a PO to get paid? There's not an approval from like the department or commission?
You guys must approve off on that, right? I
Well-
don't see their bills.
The bills that come to me,
Mhm.
which
And
for
then you
most of
sign
them,
off.
it's gluten, not gluten, McDonald Gas wanted to do it electronically, and I said, well, forget me.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
that goes straight
To the accountant.
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
But do you have to, even though it goes straight to the account, like, do we have an approval, like an internal PO approval process?
We do not have any PO approval process right now. I know Vice Chair, Mr. Dixon, wants to put one in place and work on that, but we have not done that yet.
That would make sense. Yeah. Just to have checks and balances, you know what I mean? Like, just, hey, this is a valid, not I'm saying anyone's trying to,
Right.
gouge us by any means, but hey, this is a valid bill. Or if there's a discrepancy, right, and something gets overcharged, and if it's going right to the account without being paid for, how is that discrepancy caught?
Right. Well, in a small town,
people.
Whoa, yeah, I
You
get
don't
it.
think about it.
Yeah, no, I'm,
Because they don't come, it's not like a watchdog service.
mhm,
We call them and say, hey, we're getting low, could you fill up the tank?
okay.
And they're just over to help.
Yeah, no, all
Well, it's
right.
basically an approval.
That's an approval, yeah. That was like an automatic,
Everything else.
yeah.
Yeah.
We do have a bill, I fill out the form.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
You're doing it
Oh,
right.
yeah,
That's
okay.
exactly what you're
It's just
supposed
that
to
the
do.
town wanted to do it electronically.
Oh, yeah, no,
That
of
you can
course.
do, right.
Yeah.
And so.
If you're just doing,
Go.
that makes sense, though. If you're doing a one-time fill, that is like the approval versus if it was just flowing, you know, not, you know, for any vendor. It doesn't matter, you know, if they're in town or out of town, right? You'd want to have
Right.
a process, just for checks and balances.
So if anything was wrong, I'm sure the accountant would let me know and bring it to my attention. So I have not seen anything from Felton Field, so I'm assuming you must be doing it right.
Yeah, oh, no, you're good. I think it's great, you know, it's nice and smooth. Well, I mean, if everything's good, you don't need anything from us, thank you so much for
Thank
your
you very
time.
much for all your volunteer work.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for the record, I did have a copy of that.
I mean,
sent
the
it
PO
to
thing.
her.
Be dry,
So it wasn't.
that's
I did have like 24.
Oh, yeah, well, they brought it,
yeah.
so I was like, I guess I was like, that's cool.
Because that's what I
Because
heard. You see
You
that,
can't,
right?
you don't think that in the
Yeah,
private
that was
world,
me.
you know what I
Is
mean?
that,
Yeah,
but,
like,
so is there stuff?
like just sending payments out.
Or is it just like adding?
All right, we're off to Youth Recreation and Southbury
1,500 at 14.
Common Committee. I think Mary Ann, I thought we told you didn't have to stop by this week, but you must have been bored, huh? It's home away from home? Oh, we appreciate it.
She wanted to show off her new sweatshirt.
Yeah, so this, I don't know, they're level funded.
Yeah,
I
can we
don't
get-
I don't do the youth commission, so I'm not sure why that was.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
you can keep that.
Okay.
I have a copy.
Okay.
Yeah, so you don't do the youth, but this is all falls under the same, why does it all fall under the same? They're different accounts.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you don't do the youth commission, why is it here?
Mary Ann made up this one, I'm not, so this one, I don't know why it falls under the same account, but Youth Commission we don't do anymore, and then, Recreation and Southbury Common, I would say, would be the ones we'd wanna look at right now, the highlighted ones.
Yeah, and the
I
youth
would-
commission,
So if we don't do, I'm confused.
So Youth Commission that was gone, I wanna say in '23 when Jess was here,
Yeah, I
right?
think so.
And we didn't do it in '24 or '25, because I did look back at that. In Felton Field, we already did, so this one is for Rec and Southbury Common,
yeah, rec is 6,000,
Yeah.
yeah,
Southbury Commons 500,
and the Bible would be 6,500.
and then,
So this $2,500, that
So you're
says
gonna
fiscal
make
year
it-
26 final, it should say fiscal year
Felton
20.
Field,
So, this I would just cross off this part.
Okay.
that should say, is this supposed to be 25? or
Yeah,
5?
that's what I was confused about. This says like a fiscal year 26 hours, fiscal year 26
The
wage.
Felton Field is 11,000 and 25, not 2,000. And 11,000,
No, that's fine.
11,100. $11,100. Yeah, and you sent the schedule of the recreation, how the recreation commission distributes those funds.
Yeah.
And so what's the process, like these organizations come present to the commission?
Yeah, we have a form to fill out.
Yeah.
They come in by December 31st, let us know what they would like, and then we get together and vote and try to use up all the money for that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So it looks like some good programs for the youth of the community. And the Southbury concerts. Been to a couple of those over the years.
My favorite.
Good job.
Any questions on youth,
Oh, thank you.
Southbury?
Oh, looks good.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a little recording studio coming down there, so I'm hoping they're going to do good.
Oh,
It's going in the old church.
a recording studio in the old church?
Yeah, very small to start out with, so I'm like, I wonder how that will be for the area. I don't know.
Nice.
Big building.
We're moving up.
Good acoustics?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been there yet. We think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one
The stone
on
church.
Vernon?
Yes,
one on
the
the
stone
left?
church with
Yeah.
the windows.
Yeah.
And they want to restore it to looking like the original church, but it's going to be for functions.
Didn't that,
Yeah.
did it sell again? Because that
Yes,
was,
just
because it just
sold
sold
again.
not too long ago, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a goat living in there. We had.
That's exciting
That was
times.
just, it was quite unique. So we'll see, hopefully.
Excellent.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, keep it up. Yeah, I mean, we could ask you more questions and keep you here longer, but
I
I
got
mean.
nothing else.
I know. Thank you for coming.
Okay.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
See you tomorrow.
I'm waiting, going through.
He's been patient. He's patient. He gets here early, hangs out to the very last end. Well, he came in early anyways, right? Because we wanted to put him in later, but he's like, I'm not accepting that. I'm coming in soon.
I was ready, so why not?
He's like, I want to get this out. How are you?
Good, how are you guys?
Oh, pretty good, thanks. Really good.
All right. Assuming you guys have all the copies.
Three, four.
Four, there should be four
I'll get three.
Yeah.
different options here.
Oh, I got four. One is stuck in the bag.
They were color coded, I don't know if that got washed out.
No, that's.
Nah, we can't afford color ink over here.
No way.
Well, I do have extras if you guys want color coded ones. So basically what we're kind of working with, and I think Dr. Marshall's going to talk to the superintendent of schools tonight about it, is having the Quabbin Regional School District kind of chip in $25,000 for
Yeah.
salaries for the SRO.
Yeah, that's, so we have two of those, right, level?
Yep, so there's a level, and then there's a, just to kind of continue on the status quo.
Yep.
So status quo with the 25,000.
Chief,
Yes.
could I have a color copy? I can't even read this,
Sure,
you
absolutely.
can't read this from here.
So the orange is level with the Quabbin.
Thank you, thank you.
And the blue one
These
is,
are without the quadrant. I
the blue
can't,
one is normal operating budget with the Quabbin.
yeah.
This
the
is
darkest
with
is the dark.
Quabbin's
We're on-
contribution?
So if you look at the top, it's,
These two right here.
I'll give you all color copies.
There we go. If you got them, might as well hand them out, right?
This
Hey.
Yeah.
Rather than feed into the shredder.
You want to take those in? You want a color copy of these two? There we go, yeah. Let's pass them on down. You got some?
Yep.
Great.
Yeah, so these are,
Thank you.
again, with the Quabbin contributions, which isn't finalized yet. I'm completely open to entering into some sort of, memorandum of understanding or something with the school. Understanding that, the SRO will probably primarily be at the middle/high school most of the time, just because all five towns will be chipping in towards his salary.
Yeah.
His overall salary. So, on my end, it's gonna be a little bit of a, maybe a policy change as far as what the SRO's duties and responsibilities say, just kind of more primarily focusing on middle/high school, and then maybe day shift officers, popping into Ruggles Lane occasionally or whatever, so. That's where we stand on that.
And how, would that affect services much to the SRO that's going between the two now?
No, well, the SRO currently splits his time. They spend most of their time at the middle high school, but they do walkthroughs at Ruggles.
Okay.
And, also Stetson, we do coffee with coffee, Stetson.
Okay.
Occasionally too, so. It won't change it very much.
Yeah.
At all.
All right.
Yeah,
And so from your perspective, it doesn't change like how you operate or anything like that?
correct.
Okay.
Yep. And then this is also with no reduction in staffing, so this maintains our staffing levels.
Which is what,
11.
right now? That's with 11, okay.
So 11, with 11 officers, that is our minimum that we can have the SRO assigned Monday through Friday.
And he works the hours of the school, or does he?
We're 7 AM to 3 PM.
Yeah.
So it covers the
Okay.
hours of the school.
So that's okay.
Yep. Obviously, the big cut, you know, I hate to do it, but the way that we've managed our fleet so far, we can probably suck up 1 year without a new cruiser. That's kind of kicking the can down the road. And I would stress that this is a one-time deal for this year. But our fleet's in pretty good shape right now. And, you know, I know that the town's kind of hurting this year, so this would be the year to suck it up.
So this would be with the contributions from Quabbin,
Mhm.
and the major adjustment would be no cruiser in the budget.
No cruiser. I also made cuts elsewhere as well. Special events I cut down, also because the 250th anniversary is gone past, so we don't really have to account for that.
Longevity, we don't have anybody with longevity.
Well, so longevity, you'll notice that longevity went down quite a bit, and also, unfortunately, education stipends went up, but that's because the officers are in their contract year that they get a big increase in education stipends. However, both the lieutenant and I are currently in contract negotiations with the Board of Selectmen. They did approve the numbers that we put in, but the lieutenant and I are rolling our education stipends and longevity stipend into our salary, so that it's not separate, so. So, I mean, it looks like we have big increases in the salary, but like I said, we're rolling in some of our stipends into that.
Excellent.
Let's see, what else? I think part-time salaries, I cut my part-time, I only have one part-time officer in my cut budget, or my level budget. I cut the part-time officer down to like 1 shift a month. So that's a 42% decrease. Again, special events, contractual obligations, I was able to bring that down a little bit because with the officer's current contract, they don't get what we used to term super holidays. If the officers worked an overtime shift on Thanksgiving or Christmas, it used to be they got like triple time. So now it's just straight overtime.
Okay.
So we were able to reduce that. That's about it for decreases. I did go up a little bit in cruiser maintenance, just if we're not getting a new cruiser, you know, I just have to figure that that's gonna be going up a little bit. I will stress that by maintaining our fleet as we have, we've lucked out a lot in the fact that most of our cruisers are still covered under warranty. So a lot of major repairs have been covered under warranty, and I'd like to keep that up. So that's why I can't do more than 1 year without it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the opportunity cost. I mean, it does make sense to rotate them, and, because then your maintenance costs just go up.
Absolutely, especially nowadays where it's not like the old Crown Vics where a town mechanic could, you know, replace an engine or a transmission if they had to. Nowadays, you can't do any of that. And then the other two budgets are without any Quabbin assistance, I would say. Again, no reduction in staffing, but the same reduction in capital with the loss of the cruiser and then all the other cuts.
Do you know? Oh, wait, well, so we'll get that answer when the school gives us their budget.
Yes.
Okay.
Again, we're currently still in negotiations with them, if you will.
Yeah, because they'll have to roll that into their budget.
Right.
We'll pay them.
Getting paid either way. You know, it's,
But we split it.
yeah, well, that's the thing, is it splits it from the other towns. It's just a tough cycle to go around.
You want the other?
Sure, why not? Appreciate it.
Yep, no problem. Any other questions on,
Not really, right now, you're still down a couple officers in the full-time positions?
so right now I'm down 2 officers, just because of the situation that the town is currently in. I did agree to not fill one of those positions until July 1st. I do have a new hire that will be starting after July 1st, however, we have to send him to the academy, which means that he won't be ready for the road for about 9 months.
I have a question
Yes.
about the education of the officers and everything. Why can't we specify that they have to stay for 2 or 3 years?
So
Or
we're-
pay back?
Yep, so we're actually,
Why can't we? do
Dr.
that?
Marshall and I just talked about this the other day,
Good.
and we're going to approach legal counsel
Yeah.
with some sort of contract that they sign.
'Cause
Because it has been, in the past, council's kind of said, well, it's not enforceable.
well, other towns, do they have the system?
Other towns do it, it's more a matter of, I think, if the individual decides to hire a good attorney, they can probably get out of it.
Yeah.
But from what Dr. Marshall says, the school has a very similar system where they make
That's
teachers.
the
that they-
reason we're training these people,
Right.
paying for the training.
So that's something that we're looking at now, and it'd be a 3-year contract, and if they decided to leave within 3 years, they'd have to pay back the training costs.
Excellent.
And how much is the training cost?
Well, the academy is about $5,000, that's tuition and equipment, they'd be responsible for that. As to whether or not they'd have to pay back portions of their salary, like overtime, something like that, I don't know, that's something that council we'd have to look at.
And then with the part-time, that's kind of mostly eroded away. You said you have essentially just like one
I have
part-time.
one part-time officer, but yeah, they don't even offer a part-time academy anymore. Part-time is.
So that officer is, he's technically a full-time certified officer? Okay.
Yes. Yeah, all part-time officers in the state are now, they are certified. They can go anywhere to get a full-time job if they want to. It just so happens that our part-time officer is the facilities manager for the state police, so he's got a good job on that side. He doesn't want to go full-time, doesn't need to.
Yeah.
He just wants to do the police thing on the side.
So Chief, when you said 11, you have 11 officers,
Yes.
but we're down 2, so really
Yes.
there's 9 right now?
Right now, there's 9.
And in July, you're getting another one.
Well, yeah, so
The one that
I'm
you're
not
replacing
filling
one.
one until July 1st, just to kind of help the town out. I have already filled the 11th spot with the individual that has to go to the academy. Still looking for another full-time certified officer, which is difficult, to say the least. And currently, you'll notice in the current budget report, my overtime is pretty sharp. I have 2 officers that are currently out. One is out with a baby. His wife just had a baby, so he's out for 4 to 6 weeks. And then I just had an officer that went skiing in Vermont and crashed into a tree and broke a few ribs, so he's out for a while too, so.
That's not fun.
Nope.
So now you don't have you wanted 2 officers always on call.
Yeah.
So
So right
you
now.
can't- right
well,
now you're not.
Like, I'm on duty right now, so I'm covering the shifts as well.
Yep.
So,
So you have,
stretched thin.
you, Lieutenant Brown, as like the management, right? And then there's 11 positions for,
Well, so 11 including
oh, that's
the
including
chief,
the
the
chief.
chief and lieutenant.
Okay, so all together we're 11.
All together,
Yeah.
like 12 if you include the part-time, but 11 full-time officers.
Okay.
And then the administrative assistants.
The lieutenant, how long has he been with the town?
Almost as long as I have.
Yeah.
He's been there a long time. He started dispatching in our dispatch
Right.
center.
Oh, so that's, yeah,
So
that's a
he's-
bit.
Good.
I think you worked your way up
Yes.
all the way through town.
Yeah, so did the lieutenant. Yeah. Started part-time and worked our way up.
Here you go.
You live in Barre then?
I don't live in Barre, no,
Oh.
not currently. I didn't grow up in Barre either. I grew up in Sterling.
Oh, yeah. Similar demographics, though.
But I know, I love the town of Barre. I've been in Barre, well, I've worked here now 16, 17 years. So I love the town.
Great, thank you for being here.
If the housing market wasn't so crazy, I'd be living there.
It is a crazy market right now. That's for sure.
So,
It's always pretty straightforward with the chief.
I had a little problem. It might be a number, something you can help with. Because the fiscal 25 number that we had, I thought it was,
So.
I got different numbers here that I.
So the only thing, I added in the 79,000 for the cruiser that wasn't in our operating budget, that was out of the general fund. So I just added that in because it's all coming from the same pool.
That was an article that was voted.
Oh, that, so
Yeah.
there, so
So it's probably $79,000 off.
79,000.
Yeah, because we had it,
I was looking at this, where we added this at this town meeting here, we had this town meeting. And it said we went up to 107 for 2025 after you adjusted it.
So, yeah, it looks
this
like it might be
fiscal
that.
year request, it looked like we were
So is
skipping
that
a number,
your
we're,
cuts that you-
well,
we got a 1071999.
it's $1,000
It
discrepancy.
looks like, is it 1,000?
Yeah, so you got, because that's.
Is
that's
this
it.
number wrong, or is this one?
Well, if I was a betting man, I would say this number is wrong, but it could be either or.
It could be, one of them's wrong.
When I do send out the reports, I do ask the department heads to go over.
So this
the
is what
budgets
the town voted
already,
on.
So,
So this is that
Have to look it
thing we handed out to vote on.
What did,
So the bottom line for FY '25, what the number you have at the bottom is exactly $1,000 less than what was on the, what was this, on Article
This
1?
is Article 1.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
that was at the special town meeting, right, where we adjusted?
Yeah, when Tammy and Maureen adjusted it.
let's see.
So I was,
it's like 99,000.
yeah, it's a big
So I have
number.
1 million,
It's a big,
on
it's
my budget that I sent out to him, it was 1091999. What do you have
This
in the
is-
budget? The one that I sent to the chief, what do you have on yours? What number is in the report?
On mine,
In the report?
on your,
It's
on
107.
the article?
107,199.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's
So-
oh, yeah, it's
I have
100,000.
1091. This is the number I have right here, 1091999.
And
But
then on
we
this one, this
voted
is
to change it to that
we
one.
voted to adjust it to this,
When do we change that to that?
at the town meeting.
Oh, you talking about are you talking about the special town meeting?
The special, the
Yeah.
amended.
Okay, so yeah, I would buy the annual town meeting.
The annual town meeting.
Before the amended, so this
Yes.
is, this is the original
So this,
request.
this is,
Right,
this is
so
the,
this is the one that I would, for the 1091999 is the one that I would buy. I looked at the annual town meeting.
so this fiscal 25 final is what?
Well, if you take the special town meeting, I didn't take the special town meeting. I went by the original annual town meeting for that number.
I wonder if that's just a typo, like, because look, if you, the one there is behind the 7, right? And the one here is in front of the 7. I mean, it's the same number, but the one's in a different spot.
I noticed
I guess, like, the problem is too,
Here's
is
the
that
1091999.
this is because we went over.
Yeah, this is
So
how we
if
try
we're
to
over,
correct.
yeah,
the budget.
yeah, exactly.
Well, let's look at what
Did you take with
the,
the
let's look at the
special
budget.
I'm sorry?
Did you take your numbers from the special town meeting? Did you subtract
Let's
from
look at
that?
I
this.
don't think so.
And the
I
I
expenditure
took
do.
it from the annual list.
I took mine from the annual town meeting too, which is the 1091999. This is the budget I sent to the chief.
Yeah, so let's
Okay,
see.
so, yeah,
And
so
so
I
we
think
gotta
the
figure out
situation
what
is
we're
that
gonna
wasn't
do
actually
here,
the
'cause-
budget.
No,
They're
because I
really
think there was
budgeted.
there was an amendment. Remember there was amendment on the floor for some of the numbers at the special. So, yeah, Zach's correct. The amended, so the 1170999.00 was the correct budget pre-amended.
Right.
Okay.
And
So
then
it's
that budget was amended by negative $20,000 at special, so that reduced that by 20,000. That reduction came in 5,000 in police training, 10,000 in police purchase services, and negative 5,000 in contractual
So
obligations.
what did that come down to then?
And then if you add the 79,000 too, which was not included in the
Plus,
number.
plus add a cruiser then. Is that what,
Well, the cruiser wasn't part of the operating budget.
That
That
was
was,
the
that was an article, that was at, not at the special, that was at the annual.
That was at the annual, yeah.
So we take that number, so really the budget for the police in FY '25 that's amended would be 1150,999.00.
If you include the cruiser, take the cruiser out, it's 107,199.
so the 1170999,
That's
that
the-
is correct with the cruiser gone. So you
Correct,
subtract
yeah, so, 'cause the
80,000?
cruiser was a warrant.
Yeah,
So we're subtracting 80,000
Article,
on that?
rather, an article.
yeah, so it was an article, so it wasn't on the operating budget. So you don't really have to worry about the cruiser for that number there. You just have to worry about the amended for the special, so the actual budget, right? That would be the number of 115, because 2 from 7 is 5, if I was taught correctly. Right. 099, I gotta question myself sometimes, you know, here, Eric. It's 999, yeah, so 1150, $1,150,999.00. That's the amended FY '25 budget, all in for the police, not including the cruiser, because the cruiser was an article, so it was paid from a different fund. But you did get a cruiser.
Yep.
Yeah. There was
You
a
got the
cruiser,
cruiser.
yeah.
Well, we get it tomorrow.
Oh, nice. Nice and shiny, huh? Almost a year, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that equipped, decaled already and everything? You're still gonna send
It's
it
got all
out?
the bells and whistles on it, but I already send it to Lyman's to get decaled. That takes about a day.
That's not bad.
And then we get it sent out to have it undercoated and ceramic coated.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, that stuff's amazing.
And then you get the new one?
No, patrol.
Patrol.
Yeah.
What time?
So we don't.
The senior
the
guy
town
gets it.
doesn't pay for the admin cruisers. So actually, there is a cruiser on order for my lieutenant, but that comes from the Barre Falls team. So
Yep. And what does it take, about 5 years to come up from their funds?
a little bit less right now. but
Yeah.
The cost of cruisers is creeping up too, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's about 4 or 5 years.
Do those funds ever change or get renegotiated with the Barre Falls?
Every year.
Every year?
Every year, so it just went up this past year. And I figure it as to our top step patrolman's overtime rate
Mm-hmm.
is what we charge per hour.
And that's funded with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers funds that?
Corps of
Yeah.
So it is paid by tax dollars.
Yeah.
How are the detail, almost officers, what are they, how does that work?
Traffic control.
Traffic
It's
control.
been working really well. We haven't had any issues filling details, so
Mm.
that's good.
Oh, that's a good thing.
Yeah, and we've got 15 people and it's full, all 15 right now, so.
Yeah. And that's funded privately, right? You pay the
Yeah.
contractors or whoever pays that?
Contractors,
Yeah,
right.
and it just filters through?
Yep, and then we get like a 10% admin fee from the contractors, and then the contract, if they request a cruiser, although our traffic control, we don't let the traffic control guys have cruisers, but for police details with a cruiser, the contractor pays for a cruiser too.
Okay.
It's like, I want to say it's $100 for 8 hours or something. Yeah, it might be a little more.
Yeah. Excellent. Any other questions for the chief today? Anything for us, chief?
Go for the green one. Or,
why it's in-
green or blue.
That's why it's in
Green or blue.
Chief, I don't know if it's appropriate, but,
Thank you very much, Chief, for all your-
what, if you you were here when we ran our own
Dispatch.
dispatch people, right out here. What do you, is it, you see it going up continuously with Rutland doing it?
Yeah.
Would you take it back?
I don't know if I would take it back, that's a lot. And it's hard enough to staff everything we have now. Do I think that the cost would be as high as it is now? Probably not. And it's frustrating to have Rutland just, it's basically Rutland's Little League unit.
Right.
Yep.
So can I ask you a question? So we are meeting, actually we're doing another meeting tomorrow. They're talking about doing a district. What do you think of the whole district scenario?
The only problem with the district model is if we sign into a district model,
Yeah,
it's almost impossible to get out of it.
really?
So we could never say, you know what, this isn't working out, let's,
Can you get out of it now? I thought it was a district model now.
it's not a district.
No.
It's
So
regional
it's-
right now.
It's regional, but
It's
it's
regional, but it's.
25
But
We
year.
don't have a say as
Yep.
to their budget or anything,
Yep.
you know, they just say this is what
I
it is.
think we still have, what, 15 years, 16 years on that?
I think so. But
Is
they
it what
said
you
if we
mean,
did
we're locked
district,
in
it
for
would
16
actually
years?
lower our
It was a
costs.
25, when Jessica was
I
here,
don't know how
she,
that works. Like,
she
I don't
brought the
know how it would-
paperwork, because I asked that question, like my first year. They were, we were locked into a 25-year contract.
Are we
on
really?
regional. That's what the select board back then signed up for.
Holy man.
It's 25 years for the contract.
Yeah.
And
At the
with some
regional.
kind of clause to get out of it?
Well, you could transfer it to districts.
District would be, and
Yeah.
that's what they're talking about right now. And they said that it would actually help us in the long haul, because we would have more say as to what they're getting paid right now. Like you said, we don't have any say.
But my understanding, like, there, it likely could come at it, and that could become not cost neutral. We're close to now, but when we talked about this a couple of years ago, there was supposed to be a feasibility done on it, because the district model was gonna cost the town more off the bat. But now our costs are going up.
Yeah, we're like in the 200s
10,
now.
like, we've gone up like almost 30% in the last
Yeah.
2 years.
And they did do a feasibility study, we just had a meeting on that. And actually tomorrow, I'm meeting with all the TAs. And we're looking over at the district again to see, like, what steps we would take next, what would it, and, when you go ahead and you look at the overall cost, you can, there's different ways you can go ahead with the cost. You can do by population, you can do like a flat rate. Obviously, I think like, they're talking about bringing in different towns or more towns or
Well,
something
and
like that.
that's what's scary to me is, I mean, I'll be honest with you, they suck now. They can't handle what they have now, and they want to bring in more towns.
Yeah.
And then our services are gonna go.
Just get diluted more and more.
And they're looking for more space too.
It's becoming a cash grab. Right? Like, trying to dilute all the single town dispatch into one facility.
So, I have my concerns.
Because is it Warren? They do one of, what's
So it's Warren, it's us, it's Rutland, Ocam, and Hubbardston. It's 5 of us.
well, Warren's like a little bit of a stretch, because that's a couple town jump.
That's like 4 towns, they're way up there. They're on their own island out there.
Wow, that's wild.
We're not that far away. Only half hour.
I don't know, it seems like.
I live in Warren.
Oh, you live in Warren?
I
Yeah.
do.
But still, 30 minutes, I mean,
Yeah.
at least we're
Believe it or not,
only,
here.
I can get to Rutland
I
Regional
honestly
like
have the
10
best
minutes.
drive ever. I go all the back roads and it doesn't take me long.
Enough time to decompress.
Yeah, then I go home, I need to decompress.
No one else has anything for the chief? Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate everything.
Absolutely. Obviously, any questions or concerns, let me know.
Excellent.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And is that it? We don't really have any old business to go over. I know there's been a couple changes to schedule, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, yes, so cemetery will be next week. They were actually
I'm always happy to
Parks
listen.
and Common will be in, the PPW superintendent, might as well do it all at once, because it's kind of coming in different spaces. And then Joe, who does the library, he's gonna do the Christmas and
Barry.
Right.
Yeah, so some
Should I say
minor,
that right?
yeah, some minor schedule changes. Nothing
Nothing
crazy
major.
in terms of that. Yeah, really nothing major at all.
No.
And then, let's see, I think we meet again in 2 weeks. Is it fire department's up next for the big one?
I don't know, I gotta go with the blow, I got a lot here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And is Chief Rogowski gonna present for
Yes, he'd be the one to
Okay.
present. He's the one doing the budget for us.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, he-
Know about the fire truck,
Oh, yeah, I mean,
the
he
lease goes, because that was
usually,
not good news.
yeah, well,
yeah, he'll know it
What do
really
you
well.
think?
He's excellent.
yeah, can we get a copy of that lease agreement?
Sure.
I mean, if you wanna email, I don't know if we wanna waste the trees on how long a lease agreement could be,
Yeah.
but
I think actually Jake has it in his possession right now, but I'll get it from.
if we could just get an electronic copy, just to, not that I wanna bore myself with the
Just
legal
make sure we're not
jargon.
leasing to give it back.
Well, that wasn't,
Kind of wild.
that wasn't,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
wild.
that wasn't part of the, how it was presented at town
No.
meeting.
I didn't think it was like that either, but.
So there's a, and hopefully it's just interpretation.
Yes, yes.
Because legal did speak to it at, who was the gentleman that's been at our last few town meetings? Greg, yeah. He spoke to that, if my memory serves me correctly, and I had a conversation with him as well. And we were getting caught up with if we could even debt exclude the lease agreement, because we were trying to do it a different way, and the town voted to continue with the lease. And so here we are now, which we predicted, right? You know, a couple of years ago, we said, well, we're buying a fire truck that we can't afford to buy. And we don't have a clear source of funding. So, that's what's leading to the debt exclusion coming up in 6 short weeks, I guess?
Yes.
About 6 short weeks, and
So that's gonna be at the polling stations, or it's not a
Yeah.
special meeting?
that's not a special meeting,
So
no.
it's gonna be a polling?
It's gotta win at the ballot, majority vote rules.
And there's 2 things on it?
The,
This,
yeah,
dam and
the,
this. and
the
this.
non-binding dam and the debt exclusion, and then whoever is running for elected officials.
So where is the documents gonna be that,
We're gonna,
say
we're
where?
gonna put them right there, right in your lap.
Yeah, but for the town people?
Oh, I think we gotta come up with these documents, like, I think in the next meeting, right, we're gonna get the debt schedule, right, to talk
Yes,
about.
you asked me to get that from.
So we're gonna need-
So we publish it for town meeting, so it's not something you get up in front of town meeting?
No, this is gonna be like,
But-
folks have to pay attention.
That's why it's important we get the information out there, because it's
Yeah,
gonna be
I
very
would
easy to
say.
say no on a ballot. So-
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jake said FY '27, the debt exclusion, 171,000 will be coming off. What else did you want to know with that?
Well, we wanna, we had it a couple years ago, I think we talked about before, like, we haven't seen it. I think maybe Jake gave it to us early on. I know when the previous treasurer was here, we got the debt exclusion schedule. So it showed like all the debts
Yeah.
that were excluded and like when they were gonna be
Come
fulfilled,
off.
right? And then we did have, like, I don't know if it was an estimated value, but like the estimated cost per
Per thousand.
taxpayer, per
Yes.
thousand.
Yeah,
It could have been
it was
cost
per
per thousand.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like, this was costing $11, right, $12, whatever it might be. So that
Well,
way,
Then you'd have to say something about what it's gonna be if you don't do this. It's gonna be, what are we gonna do to services to pay for this thing?
well, then it's gonna be in the operating budget, and it's almost guaranteed we're gonna have to have a 2.5. Like, there's no way we can fund $127,000 with all of these
Right,
and all
right,
these other
exactly.
increases and be below the levy limit. It's,
And with our budget even being, a lot of things are double digits, like dispatch, our health insurance, and you're gonna see a lot of, things that are really raising, that's gonna really hurt our budget too. I don't know how we're gonna get below, so it's gonna be
well, it's gonna be,
interesting. It's
even
gonna
with
be
the debt
hard.
exclusion, it might have to be a 2.5. That's where the town is gonna have to make that decision. That'll be at town meeting, Eric, right? That'll be, like, the town would have to vote, if I know the process correctly, the town would have to vote to approve the budget, but then it would have to go to the ballot for override. And then if there's, an override's not approved, then we have to go back to a special town like we just did
Yes.
to reduce the budget and have the town approve it. So it's a process either way.
It is a process.
But I'm looking at the same rough numbers as you are, and it's looking like everything at just the level services, like not even adding anything, not drastically changing anything. and we're more than 2.5%.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, retirement alone, 18%, right? What'd you say healthcare was, 11%?
11.2, we said, something, a little bit over
11,
11%,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't, in those double digits, you know, obviously with math, those things, it's gonna go really high. I don't know how. That's stuff that's out of our control, so
Yeah.
even health and, yeah.
Well, the regional dispatches are out of our control, the
Yeah.
schools, I mean, the schools, there's a little control, but not a lot.
And regional's like
Right,
11%
because-
too, a little over.
It's regional schools, and you really just need 3/5 of the town to agree. But even if the towns disagree, then it's a state process. It's not gonna be, it won't be a significant savings at the end of the day. The town's not gonna see millions of dollars shaved off the school budget by any, you know, it's, if anything, thousands, but not maybe a couple tens of thousands. That's just the reality of the regulations that are in place to fund those types of services.
Yeah.
It's fun times. So we're putting Sam to sleep over here.
Tim,
Wait, so-
you told me these are all these numbers are in the books,
Yes.
so I pulled them out and I put them on a spreadsheet, but I'm
Okay.
not sure I trust them,
Okay,
you know, because they don't change, they're sometimes estimated,
is this fine?
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So I was trying to get at some idea of what the revenue stream is gonna look like,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's a guess.
It is,
It's a
it's a
total
guesstimate.
guess.
It is a guesstimate.
So I don't know what,
I
but
mean,
some of
it's-
these numbers I was guessing with.
Yeah.
It looks like they were estimates, and they weren't corrected.
Yeah, you-
So I
guesstimates.
don't know.
If you saw Jesse's thing, he'll even told you Novembers, and you really get the true
Yeah.
numbers. I mean, it's almost, I consider it an art, you know?
So I pulled those off
Estimating.
these books, these
Yeah.
finance books, but they're not, if they're not corrected, they're,
And that's what we
Again,
need
it's
to try to figure out, is like, you know, the turnover sheet, to your point, the cherry sheet. We have to have like a whole separate conversation
Absolutely.
on all those pieces as we get closer.
And believe it or not, our cherry sheets from last year, it was like 1.2 was the estimate, and that actually came in a little higher at 1.3. But there were some things that did not come in higher, like our revenue. Our revenue came in a lot lower, which is where we had an issue right there. I mean, again, it's a guesstimate. My thought is stay very conservative and go with whatever we had last year, and then you don't go over, and you can't miss that beat, right? You don't, I can't imagine us going lower what our revenues were, but I wouldn't say we should go any higher.
you know.
Keep what we had last year, and that's what we
Well,
go
some of
with.
these things, we were going up 35% on some of these.
So this is
and some of
absolutely
these
perfect,
were-
this is right.
we were
This
going
is where
up.
this right
It
here,
looked like we were
the
guessing.
local receipts is where you really wanna look at, right? This is where, it's a guesstimate.
Now, these are my you know, they're from the book, but they're not
Yeah.
from the
Yeah, but
committee.
these are
Mm.
good.
Those are just something
This
I've
one's
been-
not.
Well, yeah, local receipts, you don't truly know until after the budget's already set.
And to play on the safe side this year, I would say you go with
What-
exactly what we had
Yeah, I
last year,
agree.
because then we shouldn't have any issue, because we're not going up any. I mean, I statistically did 200, 200, 200, because that's what we were doing, you know, and that was obviously statistically, I didn't know, we didn't have that in the town of Barre, but we didn't, so we couldn't go that high, right? So with this, I would say we go with what we had this year, so.
That's,
And then hopefully we don't
And
run
then,
into that
well,
issue.
here with the chief, you use the original number from the town meeting.
Yeah, so that's what you guys
Now-
have to tell me. I don't
now,
know what
on
you
these
want to
other-
use. You
on
want to use
the-
amended
For the
or
town, for the road crew,
well, we definitely should
And,
use the amended.
amended, you want to?
Yeah, because
okay.
that's the accurate, what the spend should be for
Okay.
the fiscal year, and that's gonna be the challenge,
And
is
that's going to
like,
be even lower, so.
you know, even to the chief's point, like, you know, his overtime is already like in close to the negatives, like
Yeah.
that. We gotta, and I'm sure snow and ice, you know, we have this winter that's been,
Yeah, we're over like 67, I want to say. We're
Yeah,
over a lot.
and winter's not
So,
over.
So you've got the report,
that
so.
cold spell with the rain, that was a nastiness.
So, yeah, it was
for
bad.
sure.
I think my snow and ice budget for my house is, it's blown out of proportion itself.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
I was using,
We definitely had a harder year this year with the snow and
The
ice.
snow ice?
yeah, yeah.
And we're seeing it for sure in the budget when you look.
You know, but There is good news, right? Chapter 90, the state's giving additional Chapter 90 funds this year, right, compared to last
We
year?
have, yes, about, I think it was like 8 billion more, and the other good news is me and the new DPW superintendent, we were able to get back, there was Chapter 90 that was out there, so when he came on board, we met with the Chapter 90 rep, and we got $25,000 that would have ended up hitting our free cash. So that was sitting out there for like 2 years prior, so we ended up getting that back, so I'm happy over that. Yeah,
Nice.
that was us, we worked and we got.
Small wins, they help
Hey, I'll
out.
take anything right now, so.
And it doesn't, I mean, we've been in a negative free cash situation on and off for the past few years, so.
The good thing is, when I talked with the accountant, she said it was really nice because the books had cleared up a lot, and with us clearing up all that stuff that was on those books, you know, she didn't have anything really out there except for the 25,000 that was out there from prior, but again, that got taken, well, you're gonna see it hit our free cash this year, but it won't next year because, like I said, the new DPW superintendent and myself, we ended up fixing it, and that will be off the books for next year, so.
Excellent. And there was
Little
other,
bits.
the other good news we talked about, well, I think we already talked about, like, but you got the fire pickup truck, that was a grant, 100%
I did get the
correct?
earmark grant, yep, that's 70,000, which I have to get that truck ordered because I only have till June 30th, so I gotta get with the chief and do that. I got the contract all signed both ways, so that's good. All the grants that I have coming in, I have to, you gotta get on me,
Yeah.
you know, and get them back.
And that's 100% funded, right?
100% funded.
See, that's the grants that we
I
like to
think we
hear
picked
about.
one out, I wanna say it's like 65,000 already on the bid list,
Yeah,
because you have to go by the bid list to make sure that's 100%.
yeah. So yeah, 100%. I think the only thing that we really want to look at over the next couple meetings before the debt exclusion vote is to get a good understanding of the lease agreement, right?
Yeah.
And then, you know, Jake mentioned something I just want to recap on as well is, he said, you know, if we can restructure in year 2, right? If the town votes to debt exclude, then can we still restructure, right, this year? Or do we need, you know, should there be a plan B, right? Like, could we, not that we want to raid the capital stabilization fund, but it is there for these types of situations, like, could we fund that payment for one cycle? And then, like, obviously if the town approved it, and then look to restructure in year 2, but there's risk there, right? Because you gotta then go through all those approval processes, town meeting, and it adds complexity, and, you know, sometimes things can get,
If you're outside the debt exclusion, it's not the worst thing in the world, it's actually better because it helps raise the levy if it's on the outside of the debt exclusion.
yeah, no,
So,
100%, like,
you know,
capital
for-
purchases like this should,
Right, I mean, if you
Almost
go
always
ahead and
be
you take money,
excluded.
sooner or later, we're not gonna have, we only have like, now I'm estimating, I could be wrong, but like 840,000 roughly in stabilization, and then I wanna say we're down to 170, it could be a little lower, I'm not sure, because we just had our special town meeting. And our capital stabilization, I don't really think you wanna, it's not good to, you know, deplete all your stabilization,
No,
capital
no.
stabilization funding, you know? But you can do a debt exclusion, and if it's outside the levy, you know, if it's outside of it, then it actually helps raise the levy limit.
yeah. I mean, I think it's good to be clear, though, it's not, like, the town is not in financial distress.
No, we're not.
By any means, we
No.
have stabilization funds.
We do.
It's just our regular operating budget expenditures are outpacing revenues, and this is why there's a process in place to resolve that. You know, like with a override or debt exclusions, and
Exactly.
we just gotta go through the process and see what the voters of town decide.
Yep, agree.
With that being said,
Motion
I'll keep
adjourned.
talking.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okey-doke.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thanks for hanging in, Sam.